if we can, we might be technology.
Well, we got one more person. I can take the school back there. I don't care. I got no shame.
You got room here.
I love the 20. Nobody likes school.
Good morning. My name is Gail Stevenson, and I serve as the treasurer of the Board of Trustees of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spartanburg. Welcome to this place. We strive to be a beloved community of warmth, love, and support across all our differences. This is a welcoming congregation where everyone is welcome just as we each are. If you are visiting with us this morning, we would love to meet you to share more about the life of this congregation. Visitor cards may be found in the pocket in the back of the chair in front of you. Please feel welcome to fill one out and place it in the offering plate during the service so that we can connect with you. Allow me to share a few announcements this morning. There's an art sale to benefit the Red Crescent in Gaza. Today, November the 17th, after the service, join us for a charity art sale to benefit the Red Crescent, providing medical aid to Palestinian refugees in need. Come find something beautiful for your home or Christmas gift, with all the proceeds benefiting the Red Crescent, a respected humanitarian organization dedicated to delivering medical and emergency services in the region. It is part of the International Red Cross and Red Crescent. And now I would like to welcome Luciano Blocker, a high school student from Greenville who asked us to host this art sale to benefit the Red Crescent, to share with us.
Hello everyone, my name is Luciano. I'm a member of Upstate Voices for Palestine, an organization based out of Greenville, South Carolina, dedicated to raising awareness for Palestinian refugees in need. Right now, we are seeing a massive surge of support in the last few months for the cause, and we appreciate all of the help, but there are still thousands and thousands and thousands of people in need. Right now, we started an art sale for the Palestinian Red Crescent Society. They've been doing some incredible work, but are incredibly understaffed and undersupported, and right now, they need as much help as they can get. And we're running this art sale for the foreseeable future at the moment. So if you're not able to donate money today and you're an artist, please let us know, as we're always taking art donations. So if you know anyone who's an artist who may be interested in donating their work, come to me after this and let me know. Thank you so much for coming.
It's me again. You thought you got rid of me. So a couple other things. UU Youth, also today after the service, our UU Youth will be gathering for lunch here at the church, games, including a D&D one-shot led by Impresario. Why do you do this to me, Scott? Par excellence, Alan Jenkins, and making care packages for our college and graduate students away from at school. Whether you've signed up or not, see Ann for details. And then the UUCS Thanksgiving dinner on Thursday, November 28th from 2 to 4 p.m. in Wild Hall. Come join us for a tasty Thanksgiving dinner hosted by Ruth Stanton and Rick Connenberg. Ruth and Rick will bring the cooked turkeys, and we hope that you will bring one of your favorite Thanksgiving dishes. Last year, we had 58 people join us for this dinner. There's a sign-up sheet on the whiteboard in the foyer, or you can email Rick and tell him what you plan to bring. Thank you all for making this a place of warmth and welcome every day.
Good morning. I want to add my greetings. Oh, good morning, y'all. I'm talking. I love it. I want to add my greetings as well to all of you here and to those joining us virtually. My name's Ruth Stanton, and I'm delighted to be serving as your worship associate this morning. I wanted to share with you a little bit about our wonderful UU The Vote efforts. Alice Sutton, Chair of Social Justice, and I were like the co-chairs of this little subcommittee. And I would say that our congregation was wonderful once again in this election season, supporting UU The Vote. We supported it with people power and with money power, so I appreciate that very much. 71 people out of our congregation participated at least once. This is 33.8% of the 210 members that we started with when we launched out in January. And the requirement for the Good Trouble congregation is 20%. So go UUCS. We had 7 people at least, and there may be people I didn't know about, who were either poll managers, poll clerks, or poll watchers, and only 2 were required. Our UU the Vote postcard team wrote 4,270 postcards to voters from Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia. I mean, that is awesome. We are strong that way. Our UU the Vote team also designed and printed, thanks to the Money Power thing, and the postcards was thanks to Money Power too, printed 4,200 door hangers just for our church to distribute, and took orders from Clemson, Aiken, Columbia, and Charleston UU churches for 1,300 more. And our Spartanburg cohort of cards was delivered by about 3,000 of those delivered by UUCS members, and the remainder were shared with community members, the League, Upstate Action Alliance, and Siren, who did door-to-door canvassing. In addition, we had another congregation member. She's not here, but I'm going to tell on her anyway. Barbara Dorsey printed 500 Get Out the Vote little cards that were distributed locally. So the requirement was 4,200 UUCS canvassing or door knocks. And through our efforts, we did touch about 7,000 voters, but whether it meets their exact definition, I'm not sure. But we're going to tell the UU the Vote folks and let them decide. But I just think that what we need to do is 2 things. First of all, if you participated, raise up your hand and wave. If you wrote a postcard or did anything, walked around the neighborhood and delivered stuff, yes. So look at all the hands that were up. I think that's like, yay. And I can't think what the second one was because I'm just so proud of y'all. So thank you so very, very, very much for that. And I think it kind of ties into our chalice lighting. The New Colossus by Emma Lazarus, and what America's about. Here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome, her mild eyes command. Give me your poor, your tired, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Our choir is so glad to be singing together, and we draw you into our circle also. Our congregation has another important circle, the tradition of our rippling bowl. In a moment, you'll have the opportunity to come forward to gather around to place a stone or a shell in our rippling bowl to represent your milestones, joys, sorrows, and concerns. The ripples and energy we create with the stones and shells reflects the connections we share together. Concerns shared are lessened, and joys shared are multiplied. And I'm going to place a shell and a stone in the bowl for those of you participating virtually, and to hold a place for the joys and concerns of our community as a whole. And you may now come forward. Thank you, Erin. Our religion doesn't have a creed that we must believe in order to participate. Here we can open our doors with the welcome for all those seeking a new way and for all those seeking refuge. But we don't come together in a vacuum. A number of years ago, this congregation created a covenant to express how we want to be with each other and with our local community and the greater world. So now please join me in saying our covenant together. You can see it in the order of service or underneath the live stream. With courage we say, we are a people of faith and hope. Together we covenant to strive to become our better selves, to honor both the critical mind and the generous heart, to prove that diversity need not mean divisiveness, and to respond to systems of violence and oppression with the power of a love beyond belief. We are glad to be together, and our time of greeting is the time to share that with each other. We welcome you to greet each other, remembering to take clues from each other as to the type of greeting that would honor each other's personal space. It's also fine to stay in your seats if you prefer, and after a few moments, Max will play some music to remind us that greeting is not the whole rest of the service. So now let the greeting begin. Yeah, they're supposedly. It is still an issue. It's been an issue, and they supposedly had it worked out.
But Sean, S-E-A-N, Griffin, Jeremiah,
And Carolyn.
Carolyn's really Caroline, S-E-A-R-L-I-N-A, Jeremiah. So just count.
I'll add it. I'm going to add it. Oh, good. I'm going to increase the numbers to 9.
Hello and welcome to It's Time to Sit Down. It's time to sit down, it's time to sit down. I know you want your hugs, I know you want to chat. Listen to the music, whoa, get back to Thank you. I wrote that like last night.
You're welcome.
Max, that was very refreshing. Thank you. And during our greeting one another, I learned we have 2 more poll clerks. That was Sean Griffin and Carolyn Griffin. Actually, she was a clerk and Sean was a manager, and so that brings that total to 9. Woo! All right. Well, it's time for our offering, and the mission of our church is supported by the treasure, time, and talents of the members and friends of this congregation. We offer many ways to share your financial contributions, including passing our offering plate. Even if you've already contributed your treasure at another time, we invite you to add your blessing as the plate is passed. Now, every month we share our plate in ways to further our ministry in our church community, our Spartanburg community, and in the greater world. Half of all the loose cash and all designated donations will go to our Share the Plate designee. Our Our November Share the Plate is for the Converse University Valkyrie Supply. It's hard to believe that such a resource-rich country like America, that even in a private university, we have students who can't meet their basic needs. The leadership at Converse recognized this, and Valkyrie Supply was created. It's a basic needs hub designed to offer supplemental support to Converse students. And they try to offer student-friendly foods, grooming supplies, feminine products, and a professional wardrobe for when that time comes. So as we collect our offering, please be as generous as you are able. And the offering will now be gratefully received.
You think I'm an ignorant savage, and you've been so many places, I guess it must be so, but still you cannot see the savage one is me. How can there be so much that you don't know? You don't know. You think you earn whatever land you land on. The earth is just a dead thing you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. You think the only people who are people are the people who look and think like you. But if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew, you never knew. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon? Or asked the grinning bobcat why he grinned? Can you sing with all the voices of the mountains? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Come run the hidden pine trails of the forest. Come taste the sun-sweet berries of the earth. Come roll in all the riches all around you. And for once, never wonder what they're worth. The rainstorm and the river are my brothers. The heron and the otter are my friends. And we are all connected to each other in a circle, in a hoop that never ends.
You may have noticed this morning not only the size of the choir, but the number of accompanists and music leaders rotating and taking turns supporting each other. Teamwork is really the thing that gets us through. And there's more to the story than that. Text messages flying around this morning about cars that wouldn't start and who was going to go get whom, and everybody making sure that they're there for rehearsal to be ready, and other rehearsals that happen earlier in the week and weeks before. All of the ways that people connect and help each other so that we can gather and enjoy what has been offered to us today. And music is just one example. You've heard Ruth talk about the dozens and dozens of people that have done thousands and thousands of acts to call our fellow citizens into action on behalf of our nation this electoral season, whatever the outcome, to call us more and more to the community that we can be. So I wonder at this moment, after many weeks and frankly months that have been really rough for a lot of us, if we could show our appreciation for all of these people and the teams that do so much work, give these musicians and these civic leaders and really just everybody a standing ovation for the work everybody has done. Some politicians will even attack Mr. Rogers, which only makes me listen to him all the more. He said, "Look to the helpers." Thank you for being people that we can look to. Join me in silence. home. The covenant of this congregation begins. Well, you can say it with me. We are a people of faith and hope. Many years ago, there was a little girl. Her father moved to this country to work. The meat processing plant that he came to work for issued a call for him to come, and while he was in another country, they provided all of the paperwork, all the documentation, all that was needed to bring him to this country in order to work in their plant. And after some time had passed and he had earned some money, that factory once again developed the necessary documentation so that he could bring his wife and his daughter to join him. And so this little girl moved from a country below the equator in South America up into the United States. When she arrived here, she didn't speak English at all. She was placed in a classroom where she had no idea what was going on. But she and her mother were rejoined with her father. A little after their arrival, it was discovered that although they had documentation to be in the country, and although they had come at the invitation of this plant, the documentation had been falsified. And the invitation extended was a way to recruit labor, but that the laborers, in fact, had no legal status to be in the country. And the family that had moved hundreds, if not thousands of miles to come for economic opportunity at the invitation of this industry, under the understanding that they were coming by legal means, found themselves alienated and in severe crisis because they were out of status in a country that was going after people deemed to be illegal. Be clear that no person is illegal. When you hear me talk about immigration, you often hear me say, our country pulls a trick. It has for more than a century, much longer than that, truly. But with one hand, we extend a welcome and invite people to work in our economy that frankly would collapse without their labor. We would not eat without the labor of migrants who come to farm and to process the food that we will be enjoying in less than an hour after the service is over. And with the other hand, it shoves them to the side, scapegoating them for political purposes. I try to say this in simple terms to make the message clear, but I know that that simplification can sometimes raise a question. Is what he's telling us really true? I hope that everything that I say to you is true. I try to make it that way. But this little girl's story is one more instance to substantiate this dynamic. Invited to work here for our economic benefit, scapegoated politically. This little girl strove with her family to find a place in this world and in this country. They went through process after process to find someone who would sponsor them, to earn papers that would allow them to stay for the economic opportunities that have been promised and that they needed and that they wanted to use to share back with family from where they had come. And then to go through the process of civic education so that they could become naturalized citizens of this country. And they did that. Today, that woman, that girl, is grown. She's a woman. She has multiple advanced degrees. And she dedicates every working day of her life to help kids who've come to this country unaccompanied, without parents, without adults to support them. Kids could come from all over the world, not just from one hemisphere or one geography, but who come largely through our southern border, seeking to connect again with their families, seeking opportunity for their lives, many of them fleeing political and social violence. She works for an organization that receives these kids when they're picked up at the border, and that tries to help them reconnect with caring parents, caring adults who can support them while they also go through the process of seeking asylum or of being deported. It's been a long fall, and many of you have said, "What can I do? What can I do? I want to do something." And so today I want to offer you one more way that you can help. We've already heard some, and brother, sister, sibling, there are going to be a bunch more coming your way. So ears to the ground, get ready. But I want to share with you the work of this women's organization. They receive from the federal government these kids that have been picked up, kids that have already been issued deportation orders, so they're going to have a day in court when they're going to be able to plead their case, whether they're going to be understood linguistically, especially if they speak indigenous languages instead of Spanish or English. That is a difficult question. But they do have a legal process they've gone through. And this organization, which is a national organization with a chapter here in the upstate, is looking for foster parents, foster families who will show these kids a modicum of humanity, of care, for the time that they are here before they're reunited with family, with brothers, with sisters, with aunts and uncles, somebody who can care for them. The average length of a foster stay is 17 days. It can be shorter, down to about 6 days. It can be longer, up to about 2 months. This isn't for everybody. A lot of us wouldn't have the time that's required or the energy, and that's okay. My own family cannot do this right now. This is no guilt. But if this strikes a note for you, or if you know someone that's looking for a way to help and is concerned, I want to be clear again, these are kids who are already in the legal system. They already have deportation orders. This is not asking you to do anything outside of the lines of the law. We'll save that for later. This is just helping kids who have traveled hundreds or thousands of miles, have a sense of home for a couple of weeks. I'm going to pass these around, and if it's not for you, just keep passing them, because there's not enough for everybody. But if it's something that might be for you, take it. I sat at a table with this woman and another woman, both Latina leaders in our community who are everywhere doing so much organizing. We talk about leadership in this community. There is a group of Latina leaders who do so much to develop and shift the culture of Spartanburg and of the upstate. And we have gained so much by being in partnership with them these last many years. I was sitting at a table with them having dinner in downtown Spartanburg just a few nights ago, earlier this week, talking about the situation in which we find ourselves and what the future may hold, and what can be done through this congregation or through other organizations to be of real support to people who are here and who are trying to find home not only in the world or in this country, but here in our own county, here in our own city. What can we do? And some of their children were there with us, eating and running all around playing. We tried to keep them within eyeshot to be sure they were safe, because they were powering all over downtown Spartanburg under the festive lights that now adorn our streets in the dark November night. And this woman began to reflect on her work supporting these kids who come here seeking a future, seeking family, seeking home. She's a mental health professional, highly trained. And she's the clinical director of this program to provide mental health services to these kids while they are in her care. She said the stories these kids have lived are unbelievable. The traumas that they have suffered, traveling all of these miles, seeking home. She said, when I first started this work, I thought about quitting just about every day because it was so overwhelming to hear their stories. And I realized that I was reliving some of my own immigrant journey, that I had to do some more work on myself in order to be of service to these kids. And she went back into that story of being invited under false pretenses by industry, and what it was like to grow up here learning a new language and a new culture, and moving from a status where she could be deported to a status where she is a citizen. What that was like for her. She said, I realized I cannot change what these kids have lived. I cannot make what they've already lived different than what it has been. But I can do two things. And I have developed for our staff a way of working where we have two goals in mind for these kids while they are in our care. Providing mental health services for them, all that they've experienced. So the first thing that we can do is help them to own and tell their own immigrant story, their own immigrant journey. To help them find ways to articulate what they've lived and what that means for them. It sounds so simple, but research shows that families that sit around tables together and tell stories develop resilience not found elsewhere. Because when you're telling a story, no matter what you've lived, the very fact of telling the story says, somehow we made it to the next step. Not without scars, not without regrets. But if we're sitting here to tell the tale, then we made it through that part of the story. She said, just like I have learned to tell my story again, we can help these kids learn that they are living their own story and it is their story. They can claim it and they can tell it. The second thing that we can do as they tell that story is to help those kids learn to hear their inner voice. She said, these kids are hearing messages from the world around them relentlessly. Constant messaging. Some of it may just be a blur in languages they don't know yet, or they don't understand. Some of it may be from people who want to use them, who want to take advantage of them, and who tell them what they think of them in order to get from them what they want. Money for being smuggled, or labor, or unthinkable things. And all around in the media sphere and on billboards, on advertisements, billions of dollars now saturating electoral campaigns. constant messages pounding these kids with other people trying to say who they are and what they mean and what they're worth. And she said, we can help those kids put all of that one step further away from them and hear and said the true voice that speaks inside of them. A voice that says, you exist and therefore you have worth simply by your being. A voice that says you have come so far, farther than most of these voices speaking to you. As Max sang, you know things that none of those voices know. Colors and dimensions and names of things those voices have never understood or heard. You have wisdom and knowledge and therefore power that those voices don't understand. That's in you. You are a person of worth and dignity. And no matter the messaging, no one can take that from you. She said, I can't control what the future holds for these kids in any level, socially, politically, economically, any of it. Once they are reunited with family, they're beyond my reach. But in those 17 days that they're with me, or the 6 days, or the 60 days, whatever that brief span of time is, when they're with me, they can know that they are home. Home in themselves. And home with me and with my team. I gotta tell you, sitting under the dark November sky at a restaurant in downtown Spartanburg with those festive lights over me, I felt like I was staring into the sun. The brilliance and the power of that woman speaking to me. To know what she herself lived and how she has taken all of that messaging that she received and the journey that she lived, turned all of that into that kind of solar light, that sort of power in the darkness for these kids. I call that faith and hope. We were asked this month to speak about belonging by one of our own members. We are a people of faith. Faith Taylor asked us if we would to reflect together about what it means to belong. Faith asked this a year ago, before everything that we've lived this year. This is a theme that defines our congregation, of helping one another find belonging. That is certainly relevant in all kinds of immediate circumstances, but it is an eternal theme as well. To do the constant work of helping each other find belonging, find home. Faith is sick today and couldn't be here, and they asked that I give you their apologies. And also, they wanted to say thank you. Because in Faith's being, in the way that faith is in the world, this has been a really hard fall. And in Faith's own words, this congregation has made all the difference. But I want to take it just a little bit further. When I first came into this sanctuary a little over 7 years ago, I came in early. I was to preach a trial sermon that day. I was totally terrified of you all. still hold some of that terror, but you've slowly worn it down. And I came in early, and can tell you that's not my usual, to try to get myself composed to get ready. And there was a person sitting over there in the far corner, near the bowler hat today. And so I know that it's the best practice to not get so consumed in myself that I'm oblivious to the people around me and that I need to reach out, to just shake hands. This takes a real effort on my part. And I walked over to the person and shook their hand. I didn't know them. The person could barely speak. And they murmured that their name was Faith. And that was it. This is a person whose story is their own. They can tell their own journey. Those of you who know Faith know the journey traveled over the last 7 years. Like all journeys, there are challenges. Rivers to cross, difficult borders, sentries posted who may not mean well. How amazing that in this month of challenge, we have seen that person who could barely speak their name stand now at this pulpit and speak words more eloquent than my own about the power of belonging in this place and their own sense of purpose going forward into the uncertainty of the future. A sun pouring forth with power and light, calling that power and light out of the constellation of other stars in the dark and beautiful night.
If you'll please join me in hymn number 1028, The Fire of Commitment. From the light of days remember, burns awake and bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of our living rings of song, both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we
Our time together is coming to a close, and for extinguishing the chalice, I would like to ask you all to join me in the reading at the end of our gray hymnal, number 490, Wild Geese. And this is written by Mary Oliver. It is a responsive reading, so I'll read the regular print, and if you all would join me on the italics. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. Thank you.
You'll see at the front of your bulletin, we were planning to have a talkback session today, but we're not going to do that. We have two things happening after the service that we're going to prioritize instead. One, during coffee hour, is the art sale to support Red Crescent, providing emergency medical care in Gaza. And the other is our UU youth gathering that will happen down in Wild Hall. So that's the plan for today. Now, you know that we've postponed our own auction until the spring because of everything this fall has been. That's great. So I know you have some money burning in your pocket. We have many different kinds of people in this congregation. Many different political views, many different social views, many different kinds of philosophical and religious views. Doesn't always make things easy, but damn, it is beautiful. So powerful. When we support the Red Crescent, what we are doing is saying to people who have been living in a 20-mile long, 5-mile wide prison camp for 3 generations, even though the world has put you under impossible pressure, and many nations that could receive you have rejected you, that your life still matters and you belong. So as your pastor, as one of your ministers, I want to encourage you, clear out the inventory of the art sale today. Let's show the world that we belong.